Mr. Griffiths, can I ask you to come forward to the public microphone, please? Mr. Griffiths.
Hello. Testing. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, councillors and members of the public. My name is Paul Griffiths, and for several years I've been involved in community book projects that make books more accessible to everyone. Tonight I'd like to introduce Burnley Community Bookcases, a proposal to install permanent public bookcases across the borough to encourage reading, reduce waste and strengthen our communities. The idea is simple. Small, weatherproof bookcases would be placed in locations where people naturally pass each day, such as parks, community centres, shopping areas, neighbourhood centres and other public spaces. These bookcases are not intended to replace our excellent library service, but to complement it by bringing books into everyday public life. A visible culture of reading changes the atmosphere of a town. A child might discover their first favourite author while visiting a park. Someone who cannot afford to buy books can enjoy a free access to literature. An elderly resident can pass on books they no longer need, knowing someone else will enjoy them too. There are important environmental benefits as well. Many charity shops receive more books than they can sell, and some even have to turn away donations because they simply have no space. Many perfectly good books are eventually recycled. Community bookcases would help keep those books circulating within the Burnley area. Each bookcase could be cared for by local volunteers, creating a shared sense of ownership and helping ensure they remain tidy, welcoming community assets. We're also exploring the idea of inviting local school children to help design the artwork for the bookcases, giving every location its own identity while celebrating Burnley's communities. Following recent discussions with members of the council, we're now working towards launching an initial pilot of 3 bookcases with the ambition of having them installed by March 2027, ready for Burnley's Year of Culture. We're currently compiling a list of potential locations, particularly community centres and other public spaces. I'd like to ask all 45 councillors representing Burnley's 15 wards to let us know if there are suitable locations within their communities. Council on Land may allow installations to progress more quickly, although we're also happy to explore partnerships with other organisations where appropriate. I'm pleased that the council has expressed the willingness to support and fund this pilot scheme. The books themselves can be supplied through community donations and surplus stock from Burnley Market Bookshop, with volunteers helping maintain each location. I also hope to work alongside Burnley Library Services, schools, charities, businesses and community groups to ensure the project complements the excellent work already taking place across the borough. I believe Burnley has an opportunity to create something positive, visible and genuinely community-led, something that encourages reading, brings neighbours together, reduces waste and gives residents something they can all be proud of. I look forward to working with the council and local communities to make Burnley community bookcases a reality. Thank you very much for your time.
Councillor Hurd, would you like to reply?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Paul, for bringing forward this thoughtful proposal. I personally welcome the idea behind Burnley community bookcases. Anything that helps promote reading, improving literacy and encourage a lifelong love of books, particularly amongst children and young people, is something we are supportive of exploring. I understand the council officers have already agreed to meet with you. From what you've said, they've already met with you to discuss the proposal in more detail. Hopefully that meeting provided an opportunity to consider the practical aspects, including suitable locations, ongoing maintenance, volunteer involvement, costs, and whether community bookcases represent the most effective way of encouraging reading alongside our existing library and literacy services. It will also be important to explore how any scheme could complement but not duplicate the work already undertaken by Burnley Library, local schools, community organisation and literacy partners, ensuring that any future project strengthens the borough's wider reading strategy rather than operating in isolation. Organisations such as National Literary Trust emphasise that improving literacy works best when local authorities, Schools, libraries, charities and communities work together to create a culture of reading throughout a town. Higher literacy levels are also linked not only to educational attainment, but also improved employment prospects, well-being and stronger communities, all of which we would like to see in Burnley. I particularly welcome your suggestion of beginning with small projects, allowing the council and local partners to evaluate public engagement, usage and community support before considering any wider rollout. A measured approach would enable evidence to be gathered and ensure value for money. And I'd also just like to ask that I'm personally an avid reader. I read every night and I have done since I was a child. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
It up to the floor for a maximum of 10 minutes. Any member? Councillor Whitaker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members. Sir, thank you so much for actually raising this evening. I cannot thank you more than enough. I was involved in the initial installation of the book club at Iton Hill Park, which was well received. In fact, Elderwoman Ida Carmichael was heavily involved in that, along with, as well as Councillor Broughton will remember. We put that place in Iton Hill Park and it was absolutely amazing. Kids used it left, right and centre. I built the upgraded version of it myself by hand. Unfortunately, that met a little bit of an accident, which moves on to my motion later on this evening. But nonetheless, I think it's really important that we actually provide free books for children in our area. As the former parliamentary constituency support manager for Anthony Higginbotham, our former member of parliament, I was also heavily involved in the instigation of the Dolly Parton Foundation. Many of you may not know about this, but it is a book club that provides young children, preschool children, with free books. We had to seek funding from the private sector to actually allow this. And over that 4-year period, I'm pleased to say that we provided over 400, I think, children with books over a 4-year period that were addressed directly to them on their doorstep. That isn't possible at this moment in time, obviously. The money's now been removed, the scheme is finished, but this I fully support, and I would urge all members here in this chamber to thank this gentleman this evening for this absolutely magnificent recommendation. Thank you again, sir. Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Kazmi.
I've been sitting here and your presentation has really excited me because I'm an academic and I teach and educate people from all ranges. And getting young people to participate in reading is so powerful. Looking at the attainment rates in Burnley for literacy, it is very, very low. And if we can utilize this book club to get young people off their iPhones and iPads, I think this is fantastic. Just a humble suggestion, I'd love to be part of this project because I think it's so crucial. We can give them the books. We need to engage these young people and we need to create activities where young people are inspired. And from my perspective, I work with 20-year-olds. Getting adults to read and engage is complex. So we really need to change the narrative. And being a councillor for Daneshouse and Stonyholm ward, I'd be so proud to facilitate this in my ward. And I'm going to get all my young people there to engage with this project. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councillor Hurd, you have a final right to reply.
I'd just like to say that it's really good to hear the positive comments from councillors, and I'm really excited to see where this project goes.
Thank you, Councillor Hurd. Now, Mr. Griffith, thank you.